Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone as we turn our attention now to athletics. Jamaica has withdrawn from the 2021 World Relays set for Poland from the 1st of May to the 2nd. The J3A says the decision was made due to travel problems caused by COVID-19. Now, the Bahamas and Trinidad and Tobago have also withdrawn from the championship, but unlike those CARICOM neighbours, the J3A's, the Jamaica Association, had announced a 39-member team which included double Olympic sprint champion Elaine Thompson-Herah and Asafa Powell for the championship. They issued this following statement. Based on existing travel restrictions, routing and possibilities since then caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, it has become extremely difficult for the Jamaican team and officials to participate. In the interest of our athletes and stakeholders, we have decided to withdraw from the captioned event. Further updates will follow. Now, joining us to talk about this, senior track and field coach and administrator, Maurice Wilson. He is, of course, principal of the esteemed G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport. Maurice, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on the show as usual.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening to you and to your listeners.
Yeah, we know that you are in charge of a lot of elite athletes in the Jamaican, on the Jamaican landscape. How difficult is this for them to take?
Well, it has been disappointing not only for the athletes that I coach, but I am sure other athletes would have, even on television, expressed themselves in saying that they felt that they were in shape and they were looking forward to competing at the World Relays. So a number of athletes would have been disappointed, but in my opinion, I think the J3s really had no choice.
All right, talk to us. There was a story about, the men's 4x1, which was already set up for these World Relays, using that event to help them qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. As it stands now, their opportunities to get those qualifying marks would have diminished. Is that something to really worry about for them?
Well, I would have not qualified. As a matter of fact, I'm giving you prime information because really and truly it should be the president who should be speaking to this.
Yes.
But I'm sure he would not be upset if I was to really share what he has in store for the Jamaican team.
Principal Wilson, for those who don't know much about the things that have gone into the J3s coming to this decision to withdraw the team, you say you understand, therefore you would only understand because you have information. What can you say about the factors that were considered, the things that weren't decided to be in the best interest of the team at this time that caused the decision to be made?
I'm sure I'm speaking to Georgia.
Yes, man.
Well, as probing as usual. Yeah. And Coach Wilson will also suffice.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Anyway, George, I think one of the things that came out was how serious the pandemic was in Poland. And the fact that America would have restricted persons coming in from Poland apart from their citizens created a flight issue. When they looked at the options, based on my understanding, it was being suggested that the team would have to go through Panama. And the possibility exists that when they were to exit Poland, they would have had to spend an extra 8 or 10 days. Now, you and I know that no coach would allow an athlete to be away from them so long,
yes,
especially without guidance for such an extended period of time going into the national trials. And so, having looked at their options, it was almost an impossibility at that time to get any other flights, any better route, and also the situation that was occurring in Poland at the time.
Got you. I know that athletes are finely tuned instruments, if we can call them that. So is it that for your athletes and others, the World Relays is something that was written into their program to say, well, all right, we'll have this to sharpen us up, to bring us up another level? Or did you always see it as a bonus if it happened?
Well, let me share something with you. If it was not in the program of most athletes,
we can call it early anyway, but those travel arrangements as to how you're going to get to Japan, if it is that the plans that we have now hold and we're going forward with Tokyo 2020, is there any problem in the environment insofar as how we'll get our contingent to Japan safely and back?
Well, one of the things that I will share with you, George, a lot of times, and maybe I'm preempting a particular situation, but the J3s would have made or would have reached out to athletes, coaches, and their team managers. And sometimes the responses are not, they don't come in a particular way. And for you to book a flight, not knowing whether or not a person is going to attend a particular meet, you are thinking of losing money. And so the athletes and athletes managers have a role to play in terms of being responsive when contact is made with them about whether or not they are going to travel. So that is one. I do believe that having learned from this experience, having realized how dynamic the travel environment is, not knowing what is going to come, the assumption is that preparations will be made earlier. As a matter of fact, I had a discussion with the president last night, and this morning, and he told me that from last night he started to think about how the preparations are going to go for Japan.
Got you on that. We dealt with world relays. I know we're straying into Olympic territory, but we have you here and you can answer these questions, so no problem. But the issue of...
That's right.
You're doing well, Principal. Every time we have a major championship, there's always this controversy about this coach having a camp here and joining the main body there and the timing not right and all that. Are you envisaging that issue this time, given the unique nature of travel and accommodation and assimilation under COVID?
You know, that's a very interesting question. And if I am to be honest with the Jamaican public or the listeners in general, I am going to say this. All coaches and athletes want their best performance. And in so doing, because it's an individual sport apart from when you run in relays. When you assemble in a camp, there can be distractions, there can be persons who you are competing against can be au fait with your weakness, whether or not you're starting well or you're not starting well, and all of this information can be used against you. It may sound, persons may not understand, but in our sport, subtle indication can be used against you in terms of technical performance. And so I can understand when coaches who are extremely competitive, who are professional coaches, decide that they want to train in a space that is domiciled to their athletes that they are coaching. However, my personal belief is that when you are representing the national, when you are representing the country, you have a national responsibility to be in a particular environment within a period of time. So for example, for relay practices, it is important that you get into the camp at a certain time. For camaraderie, some persons may say that is not necessary because it's an individual sport, but sometimes your teammate can add to your motivation. And so I think that all these factors have to be taken into consideration. My personal suggestion is that the opportunity is given to especially those coaches and athletes who do not have the finance to be in a camp. I do not believe that those who can afford not to be in the camp should be compelled, but there must be a cutoff period in which they are going to report. So for example, relay exchanges can be done, fine-tuning in terms of whether it be administrative matters can be done, and so on.
Yeah.
So it's a very thin line, but in order to create that balance, there has to be some amount of communication.
Yeah, Coach, the producer says our time is up, but I just want 15 seconds from you on this one. Glenn Mills, the Honourable Glenn Mills, was quoted on a recent local television program as saying that the Olympics looking very dismal for the Jamaican athletes because of under-preparedness. Are things as grave as he is suggesting, in your opinion?
Well, when Dr. the Honourable Glenn Mills speak, it is something that you would have to look at. Presently, where we are now, I would not say that we are well ready to participate, but I think that we're better than 2016. I do believe, looking at what has been happening since the meets have started, that our athletes are improving, and Jamaican athletes need only to be 90%. the other 10% performance will be lifted when the competition begins. That is how we operate. So I think the environment is now being created for better performances, and once the athletes continue to train and to compete, barring injury, I think the team is going to do well.
Maurice Wilson, thanks for talking to us on the SportsMax Zone. We'll be in touch.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, big talking principal of the G.C. Foster College of Sports and Physical Education.
Yep.
On the Zone.
Yeah. Glenn Mills, those comments really caught my ear because, as Maurice is saying, it's not coming from Joe Blow, it's coming from Glenn Mills. So if he says so, you have to look into it. But yeah, I think we'll be ready enough. Will the world be ready enough for us? I don't know.